Hey everybody, today I am going to be switching over some of my plants to not be just propagating in water, but propagating in LECA balls. And what is LECA? Light, I don't know. I'll put what it stands for down here, but LECA balls are basically just highly baked clay that turns into balls, and they're very porous, they're inorganic, they provide no nutrition whatsoever. There's some great uses for them. I've shown how I use them at the bottom of pots to increase drainage but allow for root movement. I also mix it into my tropical soilless mix rather, to improve water drainage and aeration. And you could also top your plants off to help decrease fungus, gnats, and other little critters that like your soil. But today we are moving them over to help propagate some plants like the snake plant that's been taking forever to propagate, and I don't want it to end up rotting. And I've been doing some research on it and propagating things like snake plant, LECA. This Peperomia Hope is already potted, so I'm not going to do that. But things that like to dry out in between. So this pitcher plant would not be ideal. The Micans philodendron would not be ideal, and probably not this Peperomia frost either. So I'm going to just do, I got neon pothos, satin pothos, and marbles and jade pothos. I'm going to swap over to LECA propagation. Please excuse the whimpering in the back. My dog just had puppies a few days ago. Let me show you real quick the little cuties. There's Mama. She's half pit bull and half lab. And then these are her 9 puppies. She has the same baby daddy as last time, and I've given out a puppy to Micro Farmer, if y'all don't know. Her name is Katie, if you watch his videos. And we got one of her puppies back from her last litter, but she's gonna get fixed soon. But look how cute they are. Aw. She has 9 of them, and some of them are brindle. Look. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Back to the propagation. So these LECA balls I have been rinsing. I've been letting them sit in the water for like a half an hour to a couple hours, dumping them out, refilling them up. You're going to want to do that to make sure that the LECA dust, they create dust from pretty much just banging up against each other. You don't want it to make your water dirty, and you know, it's better for the root system not to have it dirty. Clean water versus dirty water. So I'm going to go ahead and give these one final rinse out, and then we will put fresh water, and I'll show you the rest of the steps. One of them fell. I've rinsed these probably about 5 times in total with the soak and rinse, and they've been soaking in water for approximately 16 hours now. I know they say 24 hours is ideal, but I gotta go to work today, and pothos and snake plants don't mind drying out in between. So I think they're going to be just fine. Okay, and I know some plants are sensitive to tap water. Luckily, pothos and snake plants are not, but some of them are. So the rest of these LECA balls that I am not using for these propagations that are already here, I am going to put aside and soak them in distilled water or rainwater. I'll let them like just do whatever. I'll rinse them out good with distilled water in my mesh colander there, and then just let them soak for at least a few hours in distilled water before I use them. If I don't use them, they're already cleaned. I don't have to go through the rinsing and washing process, and I can just store them for later. So anyway, for these pothos, I'm going to have to get a bigger container to propagate in. But the snake plant, I'm just going to leave it in this opaque cup. Plants that you do not want to propagate in LECA are plants that don't like to dry out in between. So definitely no calatheas, no peace lilies, nothing like that. Plants that like to dry out in between, it's perfect. How LECA balls work is the water, you fill the water up to about there, and then you have your plant up here, and then all these networking LECA balls will just disperse water to each other, so they're getting great aeration and they're getting watered. Now, since this is inorganic and has no nutrition in it whatsoever, you will have to add some liquid nutrition to it when you water. Just use like a regular fertilizer schedule, but just keep that in mind. So I'm probably going to go ahead and grab some of my liquid fertilizer that I've already got mixed up and water with that. Okay, so I got a different cup for the pothos plants instead of the shot glasses, since that won't be sufficient. And I've got my fertilizer here. I went to Lowe's and picked up the only indoor fertilizer I could find, which was unfortunately Miracle Grow, but that's what I'm working with. I do have some Neptune's Harvest on the way, though, which is my favorite go-to brand for liquid fertilizer. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to dump this out. Oops, I forgot to dump that. We will fill. Oh, let me set that there. Fill it about that much, maybe a little more. All right, that's good. I'm going to add some water in there. I'll keep it right there so you guys can see. I am going to fill it to the top of this LECA line, maybe just below it. That way the plant is not actually touching the water. If it is, you can always add more LECA to it. Like maybe I'll go ahead and stick a couple more balls in there just to be on the safe side. And then you're going to stick your plant in there, just like that. And I'm going to hold this little leaf up in place and fill the sides up with LECA. LECA balls are also reusable. You just have to make sure to boil them in between uses, but they are definitely reusable. So you don't have to buy new LECA all the time, only if you don't have enough to go around for your intended purposes. Some people enjoy growing out of LECA instead of soil for their own reasons. Maybe it's easier for them in their style, or maybe they like the look of the LECA and they use it in clear containers. But one thing to note, though, that is if you do use LECA in clear containers, don't stick it in front of a window because it's going to get more algae. Now, this is opaque, so it should be better off. But the downfall of putting it in a solid container or pot, whatever you got going on, is that you can't see the water level if you need to add water or not. So that part sucks. So I can see, I'll take note, but I can see from the bottom of about maybe a ½ an inch from those bottom, that phone number there. That's where I need to fill the water line next time I water. Okay, that should be good. Let me take a look at my pothos here. I'll go ahead and dump a little bit more out just because that node there is a little close to the top. There we go, perfect. Now again, I'm going to water this. Whoops, stay. This time I can look at the skull's face and see the water line is at the top of his teeth there. So I got that going. This is a neon pothos. Look how bright it is. It's going to bring a lot of brightness into this dark cabin house. I really like it, the aesthetics of it. Then I got my, oh, it's pearls and jade, not marbles and jade. Pearls and jade pothos cutting there, and I already got one propagated in soil. This is, I'm not sure what this one is. We'll put it in there too. And then a silver satin pothos, which you can't really see the color there. There we go. Put some darkness behind it. It's a beautiful plant. Since this is a shorter cutting, this pearls and jade, I'm going to wait till I backfill a little bit before I add it. How do you know your LECA balls are clean enough before you use them? Well, there's little residue at the bottom of these containers every time I dump them out. And I'm not seeing any residue. I didn't have to rinse it out of that metal pan I just used last time, so it's clean enough. Okay, now it's time to add the pearls and jade. Stick that in there. And make sure this one's extra full. I mean, you typically wouldn't want to do that in case you're handling it and balls fall out, but that's not the end of the world. Alrighty. So there's the pothos, the different varieties I am going to be, that I am currently propagating, not going to be. They were just in water, plain water before this. Let's stick it to this side. And I'm actually probably going to move this in the dining room because the west facing window here is probably going to be a little intense for pothos. It could sunburn their leaves or whatever. I understand it's winter, but I had to move my calatheas off of the back of the toilet tank because they thought it was too bright. They were having leaf curled and my pinstripe was continuing to crisp. I got a fishbone Never Never Tenanthe plant that it was curling his leaves too. So we're just going to stick it in north facing window to be safe. And the little skull is looking out the window there, making sure nobody comes to the door, or seeing who it is, rather. But as far as a snake plant goes, well, why not move it in here too? I don't want to burn it either. See, I really want that propagation to go because this snake plant just, it's had problems since I had it. And that one good leaf I cut off of it is it. And I understand I only paid like $5 for this snake plant and some Trandoscadia, but I'm having to propagate the Trandoscadia too. So yeah, $5, I'm going to try to make it work, but yeah, I guess you get what you pay for. And a lot of times, sometimes you get lucky though on those deals. All right, everybody. I love you, and so does Jesus. God bless y'all.